Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy back again, and I'm here to talk about today. You need to always treat her like a child. So I remember now. I remember. What do I remember? What do I remember? Well, I don't remember shit. Let's talk about the mom. Let's talk about this moment right now. I'm with this girl, right? And I'm seeing her pretty often. Pretty often, actually. Pretty often. Okay. And the mistake I always meet and talk, or whenever I see and talk to any girl, is that I treat her like a normal person. Now, don't get me wrong, you should treat everyone the same. Treat everyone like normal people. But what I specifically mean is that I treat her like she's a girl my age. Now, this is this is good for friends, but if you specifically want to date this girl, then you can't treat her as if she is the same age as you, or if she's older than you. You have to treat her as if she was a child. You have to treat her as if she was your child, as if she was your little sister, if she was like a little 5-year-old kid. That's how you want to treat her. Because when you do that, you set this dynamic at, the father and daughter. You set this dynamic which makes you the more dominant man, which makes you more of the alpha. You know what I'm saying? When you treat her like a 5-year-old, you literally start to care less. Because think about it. If a 5-year-old child started throwing a tantrum, how would you react? What would you do? You wouldn't really care, right? You'd be laughing it off like, ha, it's just a 5-year-old, it doesn't matter. But when you treat her as if she was the same age as you, or she's older, you'd be like, oh shit, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But you start to get defensive. You start to treat her like, you start to put her on a pedestal, you know what I'm saying? You start to give her more importance than she actually needs. You start obsessing more. When you treat her like a 5-year-old, you don't obsess over her. You literally, how do I say this? You become more dominant. And you also give this impression that you're not needy, you're not obsessive, which is good. And one thing I always like to visualize, or two things I always like to visualize is, imagine that 10 out of 10s, like two girls, both are 10 out of 10 perfect everything. They both were on your dick, right? They were both sucking your dick, fam, like straight up. How would you react to this other girl who doesn't really reply, or doesn't really, want to have a conversation with you? You wouldn't care, right? You wouldn't care. Another thing, or now it's three things I like to visualize. The other thing is, if she was, my little sister, how would I react? What would I say? If she was my little sister, I'd play around with her, straight up. I'd be irritating the shit out of her. I'd be irritating her. I'd be causing, different emotions to be built. I would show love, but I'll irritate her. And this is another key point. When you can give a woman different sort of emotions, that's when she will stick to you. We as men, we don't really, depend on emotion. Women, they do. Women depend only on emotion, straight up. That's why logic never works with a woman. You can never logic with a woman, because a woman only depends on her emotions. Like literally, that's literally what femininity is. Being controlled by your emotions. That's straight up femininity, right there. So if you want to keep her on lock, you gotta control her emotions. You gotta spike her emotions, and that's every emotion. That's happiness, sadness, anger, love, hate, everything. And by doing that, it's really simple. You just gotta treat her like your little sister. Irritate her, kiss her, love her, everything. And the third visualization I like to make is, I really like this one. Imagine that you are Thanos. You know Thanos? Yeah. Imagine you're like him. You're this 7, 8 feet tall guy, big, muscular, bro. And then you have this little girl right here. What's she? 5'4", skinny ass. No, maybe not skinny, but 5'4" little chick. But why the fuck would you care? You are this big fucking dominant man. You're out on your mission to get, you know, the 6 fucking infinity stones. But you don't give a fuck about this woman, right? This is literally how you have to... This is how you have to think. 3 things. What was the point? That was the first one. What was the first one? I can't remember the first one. What was the first one? I can't remember the first one. I think it was father and daughter. Imagine that you're a father. Second is treat her like your sister. Third one is imagine that you are Thanos. I can't remember the first one. Crazy. But yeah. But you always have to treat her as if she was like a child. Either... yeah, the first one was imagine that you have 2 10 out of 10s. Basically, imagine that you get girls. Imagine that you get bitches, alright? How would you react that this other bitch don't really fuck with you? You wouldn't care, right? Basically just that. Remember, you always on top. Never let a woman disrespect you like that. You always on top. Yo, bitch, you gotta work for it as well. But you always on top. Stay strong.